Adjunct Professor Moran, Microeconomics 112. In this unit, we're going to follow up on the notes we did in the last session by completing a handout. We're specifically going to focus on marginal revenue equals marginal cost, giving us the price-quantity combination for an imperfect competitor. We're going to prove that it's not price equals marginal cost, but marginal revenue is marginal cost. We're going to graph this. In doing this, we're going to practice calculating our various costs, revenue combinations. We're going to practice total cost and marginal cost. We're going to practice average total cost, which is total cost divided by quantity. We're going to practice total revenue, which is price times quantity. Marginal revenue, which is the change in total revenue divided by the change in quantity. Be careful, because in many of the examples, the quantity is only changing by 1, and you only have to subtract out the prior total revenue from the current total revenue to get that. But when the total quantity is changing by more than 1, we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, 200, 300, you have to make sure you divide by the change in total quantity. We're going to calculate average revenue, also known as price for a non-discriminating monopolist, which is total revenue divided by quantity, and profit, which is total revenue minus total cost. We're going to do this to reveal where profit is maximized, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So that's the first thing. We're going to practice cost revenue combinations calculation. Then we're going to show profit maximization equals marginal revenue equals marginal cost. We're going to compare that to the pure competitor. Then we're going to graph this and show where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So let's review first, before we begin our worksheet, by comparing pure competition and imperfect competition, which a monopolist is the most extreme form. There are two other forms of imperfect competitors called monopolistic competition and oligopoly, which we'll review in future sessions. A pure competitor has a perfectly elastic demand curve. This is the demand curve for an imperfect competitor. It is a negative relationship. You can't explain changes in price with changes in quantity for a pure competitor. It's theorized because he's so small, he can sell an infinite amount at that price. But he doesn't want to sell an infinite amount because his goal is not quantity maximization or total revenue maximization, it's profit maximization. Perfectly elastic. So price equals marginal revenue for a pure competitor. But for an imperfect competitor, like a monopolist, marginal revenue for any quantity is less than price, because to sell more he has to lower his price, which means for each unit he sells more he has to take a discount on any prior quantities he sold. We reviewed that in a prior worksheet. So first we need to recognize that price equals marginal revenue for a pure competitor, but price does not equal marginal revenue for an imperfect competitor. The cost curves for both industries will be the same. Marginal cost, a check mark. Average total cost, a tippy saucer. And average variable cost, a flatter soft curve. Then we combine our cost curves with our price and margin revenue curves, and this is what we get. Cost curve is the same, price straight across. Cost curve is the same, but a difference between price and marginal revenue. Our goal for all is marginal revenue equals marginal cost. This will result in either profit maximization, loss minimization, or shutdown decisions. The best outcome that can happen to a firm given market conditions. Notice that for a pure competitor, price equals marginal cost. Here though, which also equals marginal revenue. But here, for an imperfect competitor, because price is not equal to marginal revenue, we have to make a decision between price equals marginal cost or marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And it turns out, as we will demonstrate in the handout, that the firm will profit maximize not at price equals marginal cost, but where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Here's a handout that will demonstrate these concepts. Pure monopoly. Like other producers in a market economy, a pure monopolist will maximize profit by producing at an output where marginal cost equals marginal revenue, not price. They are identical with a purely competitive firm because of a purely elastic demand curve for a pure competitor where those are equal. But for any imperfect competitor, price will be larger than marginal revenue. So the imperfect competitor has to make a decision between matching price with marginal cost or marginal revenue with marginal cost, and an imperfect competitor will maximize profit with marginal revenue equals marginal cost. For a firm in a competitive market, price and marginal revenue are the same. I just discussed that. But for a monopolist who sees the entire demand curve and who must charge all buyers the same price, marginal revenue is below price. Marginal revenue below price at any one quantity. We need to practice how to calculate these costs, and hopefully this is second nature. We did a unit on cost, a unit on pure competition. Marginal cost, 21 minus 16 is 500. 3 minus 1 is 1. 500 divided by 1 is 500. 300 divided by 1, 300. Marginal cost. Average total cost is total cost divided by quantity. Notice that marginal cost results from a comparison between two lines, whereas average all comes from one line. 900 divided by 1 is 900. 16 divided by 2 is 800. 21 divided by 3, 700. 24 divided by 4 is 600. 3,000 divided by 5, 600. 4,200 divided by 6 is 700. Total revenue is price times quantity. 1,200 divided by 1, 1050 divided by 2, 900 times 3, total revenue. Marginal revenue. Average total cost is total cost divided by quantity. 24 divided by 4, 3,000 divided by 5, 1,200 divided by 6, 4,200 divided by 6. Marginal revenue. Average total revenue, right, I'm sorry. Average total cost divided by total cost. Alright. Total revenue, price times quantity. Price is over here. Very confusing table the way this is organized. Marginal revenue is the change in total revenue divided by the change in quantity. 1,200 by 0. 21 minus 1,200 by 1. 2,100 minus 2,700 divided by 1. So when this changes 1, all you have to do is subtract out the prior amount. Average revenue, price, you can determine that by taking total revenue and divided by quantity. Total revenue divided by quantity. Okay, the profit maximizing monopolist would produce at 4 units of output. Again, our decision criteria is marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And if they're not equal, it's last time marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost. Marginal revenue, marginal cost. Here it is. 4 units of output, 300 and 300. At this level of output, marginal cost is 300 and marginal revenue is 300. Notice that profit, if we take total cost, with total revenue and subtract out total cost, we get total profit. Notice that total profit is maximized someplace between 3 and 4. We're going to go with this one. The marginal revenue is marginal cost. At this level of output, average total cost is 600, and average revenue price is 600. Nope. 750. At 4 units where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, price is 750, and average total cost is 600. So between 750 and 600 is 150 on 4 units, gives an economic profit of 600. There is no profit that is greater than 600 other than marginal revenue equals marginal cost. If we graph these, which you can go ahead and do, each one, marginal cost, average total cost, price, and marginal revenue, will be graphed marginal cost and quantity, average total cost, quantity, price, quantity, marginal revenue, quantity. Price, quantity, marginal revenue, quantity, average total cost, quantity, marginal cost, quantity. When you do that, you'll see the costs that we discussed earlier, the cost revenue. Although we're only focusing on imperfect competitor, the difference between price and marginal revenue. Price, marginal revenue. The cost curves will be the same. Marginal cost, a check mark. Average total cost, a tippy saucer. Average total cost, a flatter softer. And marginal revenue. Notice that our marginal revenue equals our marginal cost at this intersection. Marginal revenue, marginal cost. At 4 units. And that's where profit will be maximized. In our next session, we're going to graph profit maximization, loss minimization, and shutdown for the monopolist by using these cost curves.